Welcome to the deep dive. We're cutting straight to the chase today
Yeah,
because we're diving into something really vital, something that could, well, make all the difference when seconds count. We're
absolutely.
talking about knowing exactly where to go in a medical emergency before it happens.
Yeah, emergencies are just inherently chaotic, aren't they? Terrifying moments.
Totally.
Your adrenaline's up, your mind's racing. It's the worst time to be deciding where to get care.
Right.
And the sources you've brought us, they really zero in on this. Our mission today in this deep dive is to give you a clear, actionable way to figure out the right hospitals near you.
And build your own plan.
Exactly. Build your own personal preparedness plan.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Because I think the default is often just, well, if something bad happens, I'll just head to the nearest hospital, right?
Mm-hmm. And that, according to this material, that's maybe the most dangerous assumption you can make. Yeah, the hard truth is not all hospitals, not even the ones closest to you, are actually equipped for the really serious stuff.
Like what kind of stuff?
Like major trauma from an accident, or a sudden heart attack, a stroke. Many places simply don't have emergency doctors there 24/7.
Huh.
Or the kind of high-level critical care facilities you need, like right when you arrive.
So you could show up somewhere,
Yeah,
and they might have to send you somewhere else.
precisely. And moving a critical patient, that burns precious time. Minutes.
Critical minute.
Time that can literally be the difference between life and death or, full recovery versus permanent disability.
Wow.
There was a phrase in the sources that really stuck with me. The time to find a hospital is not when you need an ambulance.
That says it all, really.
It does. Doing the legwork now, it prevents that panic later. It means faster, better care, and honestly, just peace of mind.
That makes complete sense. So if nearest isn't always best, how do we figure out what emergency ready actually means? What are the non-negotiables the research points to?
Well, what the sources show is that an emergency hospital, it's not just a building with a sign,
Right.
It's a facility with specific, robust capabilities, stuff designed for those sudden, really serious medical crises.
And what kind of crises are we talking about? The ones needing that special readiness.
The material mentions things like acute heart attacks, strokes, definitely, severe injuries from accidents, trauma.
Right.
Also, unexpected loss of consciousness, maybe seizures, major breathing problems, or like uncontrolled bleeding, serious infection.
Right,
Well,
stuff a regular clinic just can't handle.
exactly. These need immediate access to specialized resources, period.
Okay, that clarifies the types of emergencies. Now, the practical bit, how do we, you listening right now, actually check if a hospital has these capabilities? What's the checklist?
So the sources lay out a pretty clear investigation path. First, you've got to confirm 24/7 emergency services.
Okay.
Look for clear signs, check their website. But the real key isn't just that the doors are open.
What is it then?
You need to know if they have emergency doctors specifically. They call them casualty medical officers, always there, around the clock.
Ah, so not just any staff, but specific emergency trained doctors.
Correct. Doctors trained for those rapid, critical decisions the second you walk in.
Got it. What else is crucial?
Next, you absolutely need to check for critical care facilities. Can they actually support life if things go really wrong? Meaning, do they have an ICU? Ventilators? And this is huge, diagnostic tools like CT scans, MRIs, labs that work 2-3P7.
Right, because a scanner at 3 p.m. doesn't help if the emergency is at 3 a.m.
Precisely. It's useless if no one's there to run it or read it.
Okay. And what about for specific things like heart attacks or strokes?
That's the next level, specialized response. If heart issues or stroke risk is high for you or your family, you need to know, do they have cardiologists or neurologists on call?
Okay.
And can they actually do things like emergency angioplasty or give those clot-busting drugs, thrombolysis?
And for accidents, trauma.
For trauma, yeah. Especially if you live near a highway or busy area, the material says look for hospitals designated as Level 1 or Level 2 trauma centers.
What does that mean exactly?
That designation means they have surgical teams, specialists, ready to go immediately for severe injuries. It's a big deal.
Okay. What about just getting to the hospital? Ambulances?
Oh, absolutely. The sources really stress checking their ambulance services. Do they have their own?
Good question.
Are they properly equipped? Oxygen, defibrillators, maybe even, advanced life support gear.
And the staff in the ambulance?
Right, or are they trained for emergencies? And a really practical tip, save the hospital's specific ambulance number. It might be different from their main ER line.
That's smart. Anything else on the facility checklist itself?
One last big one, admission and facility support. Do they actually reliably have ICU beds available? Operating rooms that can be ready quickly?
Because some places might just stabilize and transfer.
Exactly. The sources warn that smaller clinics, while great for minor things, often just don't have the beds or ORs for critical admissions. They'll have to send you on anyway.
Okay, that's a really solid set of criteria.
Yeah.
So how do we turn this list into that personal emergency map you talked about? What are the actual steps for someone listening?
Right. Think of it like building your own little readiness plan. Step 1, identify your candidates. Just list maybe the 2 or 3 hospitals closest to your home, your work, places you spend a lot of time.
Okay, got my list of potentials. Now the detective work.
Now the detective work. You need to investigate their capability and don't just trust the website's marketing pitch.
So call them.
Pick up the phone, call the main desk, ask for the emergency department admin maybe, and ask direct questions based on that checklist we just went through.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like, do you handle acute heart attacks 24/7? Or is there always a casualty medical officer physically present in the ER overnight? Or are your CT scanner and lab fully staffed and operational at, say, 2 a.m. on a Sunday? Do you accept walk-in patients with severe trauma? Be specific.
That definitely takes more effort, but gets you real answers.
It does. Then, based on those answers, compile your go-to list. Pick your top choice, maybe the backup. Tailor it if you have specific health risks,
Makes sense.
Then, the easy but crucial steps. Save their contacts, put the emergency number, that ambulance number, right in your phone. Maybe label it ICE, hospital name.
Good idea. IC for in case of emergency.
Exactly. And map your routes. Save the best routes on Google Maps or whatever you use. Star them as favorites. You don't want to be fumbling with addresses in a panic.
Definitely not. And making sure other people know the plan.
Oh, critical. Involve your network. Tell your family, close friends, maybe even a trusted neighbor. Share the hospital names, the numbers, the routes.
Especially for older relatives.
Yes. For elderly family or those with known conditions, the sources strongly suggest writing it all down. Big print. Post it somewhere obvious, the fridge, near the phone, by the door.
That simple step could save so much confusion if someone else needs to help.
Absolutely.
Speaking of being ready, what about personal medical info? What should we have ready to grab?
Yeah, the sources call this the Emergency Essentials Checklist. It's like a little packet of info. Keep it handy at home, maybe a copy in your wallet or purse.
What's in it?
Okay, so the name and location of your chosen hospitals, their emergency numbers, your patient ID if you're already registered there.
Okay.
A clear list of all your current medications, dosages too. Copies of any key recent medical reports, maybe an EKG or recent blood work if that's relevant for you.
Right.
And of course, your insurance card or any government health card details. Having this ready just bypasses so many questions when you arrive stressed.
That seems incredibly useful.
Yeah.
What about common mistakes or assumptions people make? What do the sources warn against?
The material definitely tries to bust some myths. First, don't just assume a big hospital is automatically emergency ready.
Size isn't everything.
Nope. Reputation for routine stuff doesn't guarantee top-tier emergency capability 24/7. Second, don't assume fancy looks mean better emergency care.
Aesthetics don't equal good ER docs.
Exactly. Doesn't reflect the critical infrastructure or staffing.
What about using connections like knowing a local chemist or clinic doctor?
Yeah, the sources warn against that too. Don't rely on your neighborhood clinic or chemist to somehow get you fast-tracked in a real emergency.
They can't really pull strings.
They just don't have the clout or the mechanism to influence critical care admissions. And interestingly, the sources point out sometimes a smaller, really focused emergency hospital might actually be faster and more efficient for acute stuff than a huge university hospital that's swamped with everything else.
That's fascinating, kind of counterintuitive. Okay, so this plan needs tailoring. Are there specific things to think about, like for kids or older people?
Yes, tailoring is key. Your plan needs to fit your household, right? If you have young kids, make sure at least one hospital on your list has a dedicated pediatric emergency department.
Good.
For older family members, check that the hospital is strong on things like stroke care, managing falls, sudden heart issues.
And for women.
Check if they handle emergency deliveries or complications during pregnancy. And, super practical point, check which hospitals accept your insurance for emergencies.
The money side.
Knowing that upfront can save major headaches and delays during admission.
And zooming out a bit, the sources mention things like accreditation bodies, organizations that help hospitals improve. How does that fit?
Right, connecting it to the bigger healthcare picture. Organizations like JCI globally or NABH in India, they set really high standards for safety and quality.
Okay.
Hospitals that get these accreditations, they've usually invested in the strong systems, the staffing, the infrastructure needed for excellent emergency care. It's sort of a marker of capability.
So accreditation can be a clue.
It can be, and consultancies mentioned, like Supremedic, they actually help hospitals meet those standards, building the very capabilities we've been talking about, which ultimately benefits you.
That helps frame how quality gets built. The source has also touched on government versus private hospitals, especially in places like India. Costs, wait times.
Yeah, that's a practical reality in many places. The material notes, government hospitals are often lower cost, even free, but you might face longer ER waits, maybe fewer available ICU beds compared to private options. Paperwork can differ too.
So what's the takeaway there?
Just be aware. Understand the typical process, the potential bottlenecks at the kind of hospital you're most likely to use, whether it's public or private in your area, so you're not surprised.
Okay, so the big message through all of this seems clear. Planning isn't about being paranoid.
Not at all.
It's about being smart, being proactive.
Absolutely. Taking these steps now, today, it shifts you. You go from potential panic in a crisis to confident, focused action. And that shift can genuinely save lives.
Let's just quickly recap the main actions listeners can take away from this deep dive starting now.
Okay, your mission, should you choose to accept it. First, understand what really makes a hospital emergency ready using that checklist.
Right. Checklists are key.
Then, investigate the hospitals near you. Actually call, ask specific questions. Don't just guess.
Do the homework.
Build your personal map. Your chosen hospitals, their numbers saved, routes mapped.
Got it.
And finally, get that emergency essentials checklist ready with your key medical info and documents.
This deep dive really laid out a clear path. It feels like taking these steps, which are relatively simple, gives you back some control.
Huge control. And confidence when you need it most. When seconds count, knowing exactly where to go, it's just tantamount.
So let's leave everyone with this thought. If an emergency happened right now, this very second, to you or someone you love, do you really know which hospital is best equipped? Do you know the number, the fastest route?
Or would that precious, irreplaceable time just tick away while you're scrambling?
Think about how building this personal emergency map fundamentally changes how ready you feel for whatever might happen tomorrow.